anything that I need to press, or are we visual? All right, good. We're good? I just want to make sure we're all squared away. All right, fantastic. Good afternoon. I now call the meeting of the City of Lawrence Redevelopment Commission to order. It is now 3:35 p.m. Checking the quorum, I confirm that we have a quorum present and we may proceed. The next item is the approval of the minutes from our previous meetings. We have minutes from February 20th, 2025 and March 20th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 20th, 2025 meeting?
I move that we accept both February and March minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing that there's none, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. 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 All opposed? The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is the approval of claims. Do I have a motion to approve the submitted claims?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the claims? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The next item is old business. There is no old business to discuss at this time. Next, we move on to new business. We will now hear the Executive Director's report.
Good afternoon, Greg Goodnight, Interim Director of the Lawrence RDC. I've got a few things. We kind of don't have an exact number with the, I'm sure you saw this week that the Senate Bill 1 passed and was signed by the governor. Don't have any direct impact. There's, we all do have a meeting with AIM, a roundtable next week to kind of go over and get some updates on how this will impact. So I'll keep you abreast at the next month's meeting what this will be. It will negatively impact the city of Lawrence. To what extent, we can't really give you an exact number, and I really hate to speculate, but we are monitoring it and have been in numerous discussions. Second, Russell and I met with HWC to look at a plan to what we design impact on Otis Avenue, what we see it being in the future. We have some properties that are available for development, what the streetscape might look like, trying to take that, what we believe the final vision for Otis Avenue should look like from Post down to Lee Road. And so we're waiting on them to get some designs and hear our thoughts on what that looks like. No action needs to be taken, just wanted to let you know we've been in those discussions. I've also had a couple of meetings with developers about potential housing projects. Some of those are in the Fort Harrison area. Also looking at other parts of the city as well. No exact plans, but we have been in communication with developers who have at least an interest at this time. Their hesitation has to deal with what's taking place at the federal government. Some of the, I hate to drop the R word, but the recession has been talked about if you're following local, state, national economics. Just want to invite you this next Tuesday on April 22nd. Foamcraft is having their groundbreaking ceremony at 11 a.m. So if you can put that on your calendar and try to make it, would love to have you there. They're going to talk a little bit, have some light refreshments, and the mayor will be there as well, giving some remarks. I think Russell's on the agenda as well. So that's 11 a.m. on April 22nd. Finally, I've been in communication with Ball State Center for Economic Research. They gave us some dates. I got with the city council last night at their meeting. We are tentatively set. I'm waiting for confirmation. If you can mark your calendars for Wednesday, May 7th. We're going to try to do a, just to kind of have the RDC, FHRA, city council, trying to figure out, have just an educational, with Ball State and talk about economics. Probably last somewhere around an hour to an hour and a half at the most. give some data, what counties are performing, why they're performing well, just national data, state data, things like that. But it should be, I think it'd be important if you can try to make that. Also gave you a handout. Some of you may have seen this. I know I talked about it at the executive session. Just something to keep in the back of the mind. This was, and I'll be glad to, I compiled this, just trying to look at the population change for the cities in the Indy region. We didn't go outside into the northern part of the state, southern part of the state, anything like that. Just keep in mind this, when you look at Lawrence's growth, 27%. There are cities in this state that would love to have 27% growth because they've had declining population. So that's not necessarily as bad as it may look on the chart, but my goal and our goals, I hope, are to kind of get our fair share of the growth that's happening in the region and try to be more towards the middle of the pack or the upper tier part of the pack as far as population growth. And I know population growth isn't the only thing that determines a city's success, but it is an important factor in that.
Absolutely.
So, then the last thing I had, and I'm going to let Councilor Brown talk about this. We've been in discussion with the HWC considering Pendleton Pike, and if you want to come up and talk about this, that'd be great. Do you have any questions for me before I
I just have a real quick question.
Yep.
This is, shows population growth from 2000 to 2024, but do we have any idea if we're trending upwards or downwards in the last 5 years or so?
I did not break it down. I think overall, though, it's been trending in the right. It's trending in the right direction. But keep in mind this: most of the growth in the state has taken place in the metropolitan area of Indianapolis. Not all of it. There's still Tippecanoe County and Monroe County and the Floyd County down by Louisville. There's some growing pockets, but most of the growth has taken place in the metro area. So, all in all, Lawrence is trending in the right direction. It's just it's not trending as fast as some of our peer cities in the metro area. That's the
And given that that's maybe not, like you said, the only goal in a city's success, but that it's a goal, do you have any insights into what kind of things might attract more population growth, or maybe we can look into those kind of insights?
That's a great question. It really is. And I don't think there's, having kind of dabbled in this to some extent in the last few, it's really the things you would think of that if you're a consumer, why would you move to an area? Nice schools, safe city, clean city.
Recreation.
I'm sorry?
Recreation.
Correct, right, nice parks, those kind of things. It's just, and everybody's, when they say quality of life, what improves your quality of life may be different than mine in some ways, but they all follow under that big umbrella. So it may be, access to certain amenities and, health food stores or whatever, but for some people it's recreational activities but there's some generalities, but those are things. And again, I don't want to be too hypercritical because it is trending in the right direction. Mm-hmm. It's just, could it be doing better? Hope, sure, I think we could. So that's the goal, at least the objective.
But we have room to grow.
Oh, yeah.
One other quick question.
Yep.
On these, this I assume is raw numbers. Does the data break down by how much is new influx of people versus annexation?
I don't think the city bound, and I could be corrected here. I don't know if the city, you talk about for the other cities too.
Yeah, just in general.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what? I don't
Some of the
think
growth is annexation, right? It's
for
not just
some of those communities, yes. For some of those, so I think of some areas that have annexed. Westfield's a good example. They've taken on additional land and territory, yeah. But keep in mind when they've had something to annex. So you go out into some areas. I don't want to pick on any cities up in the northern or southern part of the state, but there's some cities that there are no people to annex because they're.
Yeah, no, I guess my question stems from, how much of it's real growth and how much of it is just extending the boundaries of the city.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably, I don't have a breakdown, but I'm sure it's a little bit of both or somewhere, yeah, it's both factored in. That's a good question. Is that it?
All right.
Okay, I'll turn it over. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for Mr. Goodnight? All right.
Last item of new business for you today is we just distribute, this was received just this week, a request from HWC for an amendment to their Pendleton Pike kind of scope of work. As you all remember, we've been kind of figuring out on landscaping of the islands of Pendleton Pike. HWC had an original contract for that design and permitting work. This addendum would task them with the solicitation of quotes or bids for that project. Obviously, trying to be time sensitive and trying to get something in the ground, and I think we've come to a consensus that we're going to try to do the first 3 medians coming from the interstate headed towards Post Road, and this would task and pay HWC for the solicitation of those bids and managing that process. Frankly, it is not an easy process, so it's helpful to have somebody who's got that expertise. They do this with some regularity. Obviously, they're very familiar with the bids or the design package that they put together. So this would be done on an hourly rate, and it has a not to exceed number of $9,000. So that's their proposal, and we would ask for your approval of that today, so that they can, as soon as the NDOT permit is granted, they can move forward with the bidding process.
Do we have any questions about this amendment?
I'm assuming that Greg and Russell, you guys think that that's a fair
Yeah.
assessment for the work being done?
I do, and I think the not to exceed number is helpful as well. That way we're even if it takes more effort to get it done. So that'd be preparing bid packages, and depending on the threshold, as I think we've exchanged information via email, depending on the package, I think we're trying to stay under the $150,000 number, because that can be done via quote. And so you have to go to 3 known quoters to do that. Have to be provided the data, and then the quotes and bids received, analyzed to make sure they're responsive, and then work through the awarding of that contract. Ultimately, that contract will come back here. The bid would come back here for your approval before we would actually move forward with it. But this would allow them to staff that. That number is reasonable and contemplates potentially doing an alternate bid as well, so that we can see how much we can get done as quickly. So there would be a couple of different evaluations that they would be doing, and they would bring a recommendation to you for your approval. So that's all within that scope.
Okay, so this is the assembly, I'm sorry, this is the assembly of that bid package.
The bid package, the solicitation of it, an analysis of it, and then a presentation to you of what their recommendation is as a responsible and responsive bidder.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the proposed amendment for HWC?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Seeing that there's no oppositions, the amendment passes.
Can I ask a quick question? We are or are not bound by a 30-day process to, once the call goes out, to receive bids? I thought you said if it's under $150,000.
If it's under $150,000, it's a faster process. I think it's a 7-day requirement, so you have to deliver it. Typically, what my public sector clients will do is they will go well beyond the 3, because the 3 is the statutory minimum that you have to solicit from 3. That doesn't mean you're going to get 3 bids, but
Yeah.
you have to go to 3 known folks, and I think it has to be open for 7 days.
Okay.
So
And we also have a long history of working with HWC, right?
they have worked, they did the original Trades District design, and then they have done this work. In the interest of full disclosure, they are my client, but I did not participate in the selection of them for any of that work. But they have done that work and are, and also working on the Record Street reclassification as well. So those are the 2 projects that they currently under contract with Redevelopment Commission for.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Is there any other business to come before the commission? Hearing none, we will move to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.